Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next hour. Austria is caught in political limbo as Chancellor Karl Nehammer's successor says there will be no coalition with the far-right Freedom Party. Nearly 70 million Americans are under winter alerts with a powerful weather system expected to bring the heaviest snowfall and coldest winds in over a decade. Delhi gets its first Namo Bharat connectivity with the inauguration of the 13-kilometer stretch of Delhi-Ghaziabad-Meerut corridor. And Australia beat India by 6 wickets in Sydney to reclaim the Border-Gavaskar trophy and seal the World Test Championship final spot. Austria seems to be trapped in political no man's land. The verdict of the elections in September delivered an outcome where the far-right Freedom Party got the highest votes but not enough to rule. The results also left the ruling coalition in a disarray, refusing to come together due to differences on key issues. The nation's Chancellor Karl Nehammer has announced his intention to step down from both heading the government and the party. His successor has also been chosen, but the way forward remains unclear.
Talks to form a centrist coalition in Austria failed after the Social Democrats and the Liberal Neos cited irreconcilable differences with Nehammer's People's Party.
Following the breakdown of talks, I will act as following. I will step down as Federal Chancellor and also as a Chairman of the People's Party in the next few days and facilitate an orderly transition. This orderly transition is particularly important to me because I have always stood for stability in our country and in People's Party.
The OVP leadership has named Christian Stocker as Nehammer's successor after his resignation. Though the OVP Secretary General is speculated to be more open to tying up with the far-right Freedom Party, which won the September election, he is showing little interest for now.
We stand by what we said before. Karl Nehammer, as Federal Chancellor and Federal Party Chairman, has clearly stated that there will be no collision with Herbert Kickl. That was the case yesterday, it is the case today, and it will be the case tomorrow.
The far-right Freedom Party, known for its Eurosceptic and pro-Russia stance, won 29% of the vote in September elections, but it has been unable to form a government since no other party would enter a coalition with them. With coalition talks having collapsed, Austria faces two options: snap elections or an FPO-led government. SPO leader Andreas Babler has warned that FPO leader Herbert Kickl as Chancellor could threaten democratic values. Whichever party leads the next Austrian government, it will face several challenges, including an economy in recession and rising unemployment. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, Austrian President Alexander von der Bellen has announced that he would meet with far-right Freedom Party leader Herbert Kickl on Monday after efforts to form a coalition without the FPO collapsed and Conservative Chancellor Karl Nehammer resigned. He said that voices within the Conservative People's Party, which had previously ruled out cooperation with an FPO under Herbert Kickl, have become much quieter. This in turn suggests that a new path may be opening up that did not exist before. Hundreds of South Koreans have been bundled up against freezing temperatures and snow near the residence of impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol, calling for his ouster and arrest. And at the same time, authorities are ready to renew their efforts to detain him over a short-lived martial law decree. DD India's Rahul Padhyay brings us more.
A wet and snowy Sunday morning greeted thousands of South Koreans protesting for and against impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. They staged rival rallies in Seoul, a day after authorities failed to execute an arrest warrant on the suspended leader over his short-lived declaration of martial law last month. The chief of security for South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol said he could not cooperate with efforts to arrest the impeached leader.
대통령 경호처는 무작
The Presidential Security Service did not approve to enter into the presidential residence on January 3rd regarding the execution of an arrest warrant of President Yoon Suk-yeol by the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials.
Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived South Korea on Sunday. He will hold talks with his counterpart, Cho Tae-yul, on Monday. Yoon became the first incumbent South Korean president to face arrest for his botched attempt to declare martial law on 3rd of December, which triggered political chaos in Asia's fourth largest economy and a key US ally. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
The debate over H-1B visas is intensifying in the US ahead of Trump's inauguration. While the H-1B program remains vital for the tech industry, it has sparked controversy among Trump's allies. Meanwhile, New Zealand has reduced the work experience requirement for migrants from 3 years to 2. DD India's Meher Makri provides a 360-degree roundup of the issue in the next report.
With just 2 weeks to go before Donald Trump's inauguration, the debate over H-1B visas for highly skilled foreign workers is heating up in the States. India has also weighed in, emphasizing how the mobility of skilled professionals benefits both the countries.
India-US economic ties benefit a lot from the technical expertise provided by skilled professionals, with both sides leveraging their strengths and competitive value. We look forward to further deepening India-US economic ties, which are to our mutual benefit.
India's stance follows recent endorsements of the H-1B program by President-elect Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk. However, the issue has created a rift among Trump's allies. While some see the program as vital for the US tech industry, others argue it threatens American jobs. So what exactly is the H-1B program and why is it a hot-button issue for skilled workers? The H-1B visa lets US employers hire foreign workers for specialized roles. These jobs usually need a bachelor's degree or equivalent. The H-1B visa is valid for up to 6 years, after which visa holders must leave for 12 months or seek permanent residency. Indians dominate H-1B visas, showcasing global talent. In financial year 2023, 72.3% of H-1B visas went to Indian nationals. For US employers, the H-1B visa program is a gateway to global talent. It fills critical skill gaps and helps firms stay competitive in the global market. Meanwhile, New Zealand, grappling with persistent labor shortages, has unveiled major updates to its visa and employment policies, making it easier for immigrants from other countries to seek work visa. On taking a closer look, one finds that work experience requirements for migrants have been reduced from 3 to 2 years. Changes aim to simplify hiring processes for skilled workers. Indian migrants are expected to benefit significantly. 2 new pathways for seasonal workers have been introduced. These include 3-year multi-entry visa for experienced workers and 7-month single-entry visa for lower skilled roles. Median pay criteria for specific visas are now removed. Employers must still post jobs and offer market rate salaries without fixed pay limits. And new rules balance employer flexibility with fair worker pay. From the US to New Zealand, these evolving policies underscore the critical role of global talent in shaping the future of industries and economies worldwide. Meher Makri reporting for DD India.
Now, Russia said that Ukraine had launched a counterattack in the Kursk region on Sunday. Russia's defense ministry said in a statement that its troops have repelled 2 Ukrainian attacks into the Kursk region. Ukrainian troops from past 5 months have been resisting Russian attempts to eject them from Kursk after their surprise incursion in the region on the 6th of August in 2024. Also, Russia claimed on Saturday to have intercepted 8 US-made missiles and downed 72 drones while capturing a settlement in Luhansk. The Russian Ministry of Defense also reported multiple strikes on Ukrainian military sites, resulting in over 540 casualties and the loss of 4 tanks for Ukraine. In another significant development, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has revealed that the U.S. had been supplying weapons to Ukraine since 2021, fueling tensions with Russia, which condemned NATO's military support. As Ukraine faces mounting challenges, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal has announced a record defense budget and plans for increased military production. And in a deepening energy crisis, residents of Moldova's breakaway Transnistria region face escalating power cuts after Russian gas flows through Ukraine halted on New Year's Day. The halt follows Kyiv's refusal to renew a transit deal with Russia, leaving Transnistria's thermal power plant without fuel to generate electricity. Without gas coming in from Gazprom to fuel its thermal plant, Transnistria has extended rolling blackouts to 4 hours daily, leaving homes without heating as temperatures plunge to minus 10 degrees Celsius. Industries have shut down, sparing only food production, as officials urge residents to conserve resources. Moldova, reliant on Transnistria's power plant for cheap electricity, blames Russia for the chaos, demanding gas rerouted through Turk Stream. Moscow, however, points fingers at Kyiv for the impasse. Meanwhile, Transnistria's vital power supply to Moldova remains precariously disrupted. Now, moving on to another theatre of conflict, the Israeli military has said on Sunday that it has struck more than 100 terror targets in the Gaza Strip over the past 2 days and eliminated dozens of Hamas terrorists. Several of the strikes by Israeli Air Force targeted sites from which Hamas had been firing projectiles into Israel in recent days. Last week, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz warned of intensified Israeli strikes if the incoming rocket fire continued. On the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah, the Israeli Defense Minister has accused the militants of not meeting the terms of the ceasefire. The minister said Hezbollah had still not withdrawn its forces beyond the Litani River in southern Lebanon. Warning Hezbollah, he added that if they do not withdraw, Israel will be forced to act to ensure the safe return of residents in the north. Syria's new Islamist ruler said on Sunday that U.S. sanctions on Syria were an obstacle to the war-torn country's rapid recovery. They urged Washington to lift them during a visit by Syrian officials to Qatar. After meeting with Qatar's Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, who also serves as Foreign Minister, Syria's Foreign Minister Assad Hassan al-Shabani said in an interview that these sanctions constitute a barrier and an obstacle to the rapid recovery and development of the Syrian people, who await services and partnerships from other countries. The last contingent of security forces from Guatemala, comprising 75 military police members, has arrived in Haiti to reinforce the ongoing multinational security support mission. This deployment is part of Guatemalan President Bernardo Arevallo's pledge in September last year to send 150 military police to Haiti. The mission, led by Kenya, has seen deployments from several countries, including 400 police from Kenya, 24 personnel from Jamaica, and 2 senior officers from Belize, with El Salvador sending 8 soldiers for medical evacuation operations. Despite these efforts, the mission has struggled to prevent gangs from taking new territories and committing massacres, causing thousands of people to flee their homes due to escalating violence. Haiti's national police have meanwhile lost thousands of officers in recent years. A powerful winter storm hit the United States on Sunday, with meteorologists warning millions in the east face blizzard conditions. The warnings also issued for heaviest snowfall in a decade in some areas. Nearly 70 million Americans are under winter alerts, with a powerful weather system expected to bring the heaviest snowfall and coldest winds in over a decade. Across the Atlantic, airports in England reopened Sunday after heavy snow across large parts of England forced runway closures. Airports in northwestern Manchester and Liverpool, central Birmingham and western Bristol reopened following earlier flight suspensions. In mainland Europe, Germany, snow and black ice forced the cancellation Sunday of dozens of flights to Frankfurt Airport, which is the largest airport in the country. Now, while many countries are facing bone-chilling cold, Southeast Australia, on the other part of the side of the globe in the south, sweated in a heat wave that intensified on Sunday. The scorching heat wave elevated bushfire risk and prompted authorities to issue fire bans for most parts of Victoria State. Australia is in the grip of a high-risk bushfire season, with firefighters last week battling a large blaze that ripped through Victoria's Grampians National Park, razing homes and farmland. The nation's weather forecaster warned that temperatures could reach 45 degrees Celsius in some parts of Australia's second most populous state of Victoria on Sunday. The mercury in the state capital, Melbourne, was forecast to hit 38 degrees Celsius. The states of Western Australia, New South Wales and Tasmania were also under heatwave warnings on Sunday. Australia's last few fire seasons have been quite quiet compared with the catastrophic 2019-2020 black summer of wildfires that destroyed an area of the size of Turkey, killing 33 people and billions of animals. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Amid COVID-like virus outbreak in China, the Indian government says it's well prepared to face any challenge. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer faces great unpopularity after 5 months in Downing Street than any other Prime Minister since the late 1970s. And Japan culls 50,000 chickens after bird flu alert.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. In a significant boost to regional connectivity, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the much-awaited Namo Bharat rapid rail between Delhi and Meerut on Sunday. The Prime Minister flagged off the newly operational leg from Sahibabad in Uttar Pradesh to New Ashoknagar in Delhi, marking the beginning of an era of high-speed and efficient travel between the two cities. Take a look at this report by my colleague Dibendu Mondal.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi boarded the Namo Bharat rapid rail at Sahibabad station, symbolizing the launch of the new 13-kilometer stretch between Sahibabad and New Ashoknagar in Delhi. This new addition to the Delhi-Meerut corridor is set to transform travel, bringing the national capital region closer than ever. During his journey on this state-of-the-art train, the Prime Minister also interacted with passengers, especially children, sharing smiles and conversations, making the journey memorable for all on board. With today's inauguration, the operational stretch of the Namo Bharat corridor now spans 55 kilometers, covering a total of 11 stations. The corridor's current stretch from Sahibabad to Meerut South is already functional, and the new addition links Delhi's New Ashoknagar to Meerut, further improving connectivity for thousands of daily commuters. The highlight of the new section is the rapid journey time. Traveling from New Ashoknagar to Meerut South will now take less than 40 minutes, reducing the usual travel time by a third. The Namo Bharat trains will operate every 15 minutes with fares from New Ashoknagar to Meerut South set at Rs 150. Namo Bharat trains have already served over 50 lakh commuters, underscoring the project's impact in easing travel and cutting down commute times. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of a seamlessly connected India is now one step closer, with Namo Bharat being a key part of the future of urban mobility. Dibendu Mondal's report for DD India.
And Prime Minister Modi also addressed a public gathering in Delhi's Rohini on Sunday. He took a dig at the Delhi government and the Aam Aadmi Party for falsely accusing the central government of not allowing them to work properly.
दिल्ली पर आपदा लाने वाले ये झूठा आरोप लगाते हैं कि केंद्र सरकार उन्हें काम नहीं करने देती, केंद्र सरकार उन्हें पैसे नहीं देती। ये कितने बड़े झूठे हैं, इसका उदाहरण इनका शीश महल है। आज ही एक बड़े अखबार ने सीएजी रिपोर्ट के आधार पर शीश महल पर हुए खर्च का खुलासा किया है। और साथियों, आपको ये जानकर के पीड़ा होगी, दर्द होगा, अरे पूरे देश के लोग चौंक जाएंगे जब दिल्ली के लोग कोरोना से जूझ रहे थे, जब दिल्ली के लोग ऑक्सीजन और दवाओं के लिए भटक रहे थे, तब इन लोगों का पूरा फोकस अपना शीश महल बनवाने में था। इन्होंने शीश महल का भारी भरकम बजट बनाया।
Now, India's Prime Minister Modi will be inaugurating and laying the foundation stone of various railway projects on Monday through a video link. In a significant move to further boost connectivity in Jammu and Kashmir, the PM will inaugurate the new Jammu Railway Division. He will also inaugurate the Charlapalli new terminal station in Telangana. Along with this, he will lay the foundation stone of a Raigad Railway Division building of East Coast Railways to improve connectivity in Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and nearby areas, leading to overall socio-economic development in the region. India's Health Ministry on Saturday convened a joint monitoring group meeting in view of the HMPV outbreak causing rising cases of respiratory illnesses in China in the past few weeks. The ministry said it is closely monitoring the situation in China through all available channels, and the World Health Organization has also been requested to share timely updates regarding the situation in China. The ministry further said that India is well prepared to handle respiratory illnesses and surveillance shows no unusual rise. It said the health systems and surveillance networks remain vigilant, ensuring the country is ready to respond promptly to any emerging health challenges. At least 8 security personnel were killed and 40 others injured in a suicide bomb blast in the Balochistan province of Pakistan. The blast, which took place in the Dhang area of Turbat city on Saturday, targeted a passenger van and a police security vehicle adjacent to the van. Following the blast, police and security forces reached the incident site and cordoned off the area while the injured were moved to the nearest hospital. The separatist group Baloch Liberation Army, or the BLA, has claimed responsibility for the attack. The latest attack is part of an ongoing series of attacks by the BLA in Balochistan, which have been targeting military convoys, security checkposts and police vehicles. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is facing greater unpopularity after 5 months in Downing Street than any other Prime Minister since the late 1970s. According to a new poll conducted between the 27th of November and the 4th of December last year, it revealed that 61% of voters were dissatisfied with Starmer's performance, while 27% were satisfied, resulting in a net satisfaction score of -35. The global market research company Ipsos conducted the survey, noted that this was the worst score for a Prime Minister after 5 months in office, dating back to Margaret Thatcher. Several factors contributed to Starmer's decline in popularity, including controversies over gifts to ministers, a cut in winter fuel payments for pensioners, and a budget that increased taxes by £40 billion. Former Greek Prime Minister Kostas Simitis, known as the modernizer in Greek politics, passed away on Sunday at the age of 88. The government declared 4 days of mourning for him. Simitis, who had no known health issues, had been vacationing at his summer residence close to Athens in the Peloponnese in the recent days. Simitis was a key figure in Greece's political landscape, serving as Socialist Party leader and Prime Minister from 1996 to 2004. Japanese authorities began culling approximately 50,000 chickens on Sunday after a bird flu outbreak at a farm in Japan's northern Iwate region. This comes after increasing deaths of fowl reported from a farm due to bird flu. The country's agriculture ministry said that it's the 19th bird flu outbreak of the season in Japan. Meanwhile, the ministry has also banned the movement of 170,000 birds kept at 2 farms of the Iwate region. India and Bangladesh successfully exchanged 185 fishermen and their vessels on Sunday. The reciprocal repatriation involved the release of 90 Bangladeshi fishermen held in India and 95 Indian fishermen detained in Bangladesh. As part of this mutual exchange, coordinated by both the Indian Coast Guard and the Bangladesh Coast Guard, 95 Indian fishermen along with 4 fishing boats were repatriated. Additionally, 90 Bangladeshi fishermen were returned, including 12 who were rescued from the sunken boat Kaushik. Bangladesh has cancelled a gazette allowing 50 judicial officials to attend training courses at India's National Judicial Academy in Bhopal and a State Judicial Academy. The Ministry of Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs of Bangladesh disclosed the decision in a circular issued on Sunday. Earlier, on the 30th of December, the Gazette had permitted 50 judicial officials to take part in the training courses from the 10th to the 20th of February this year. The circular said that the Gazette has been cancelled according to the directions of the Bangladesh Supreme Court. The training, originally scheduled for February 2025, was part of a bilateral agreement signed in April 2017 to enhance the expertise of Bangladeshi judicial officials. Now let's take a look at some other stories making news around the world as well. 120 flights at Germany's largest airport, Frankfurt, have been cancelled on Sunday due to snowfall and poor visibility. The Meteorological Office also warned of freezing rain after snowfall overnight. The 41st Harbin International Ice and Snow Festival officially opened on Sunday for visitors with a spectacular fireworks display and drone show in the northeastern Chinese city. The theme for this year's fest is Shared Dreams of Ice and Snow, United Asia. Hundreds of people took part in a parade for the Blacks and Whites Carnival in Colombia's Pasto, celebrating the ethnic diversity in the region. In 2009, the carnival was also proclaimed by UNESCO as Intangible Cultural Heritage. And still to come on DD India NewsHour, we'll be speaking with our expert guest about how India's space agency's SpaceX mission has delivered 2 successes ahead of its landmark docking demonstration. Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy, and before we go any further, another look at our top stories. Austria is caught in political limbo as Chancellor Karl Nehammer's successor says there will be no coalition with the far-right Freedom Party. Nearly 70 million Americans are under winter alerts with a powerful weather system expected to bring the heaviest snowfall and coldest winds in over a decade. And Delhi gets its first Namo Bharat connectivity with the inauguration of the 13-kilometer stretch of Delhi-Ghaziabad-Meerut corridor. Well, India's space agency ISRO's docking of 2 spacecraft is a much-awaited event world over. It's likely to be attempted first on Tuesday, but even before that happens, ISRO's SpaceX mission has produced at least 2 successful experiments. use of a relocatable robotic arm and germination of seeds in microgravity environments. These both experiments are India's first successes in these fields. Take a look.
3, 2, 1, 0.
The Indian Space Research Organization or ISRO launched its space docking experiment or SpaceX on the second last day of last year in a bid to not only develop a space station building capability in the coming years, but to also human space missions and other celestial endeavors. The mission not only put in orbit two spacecraft set to come closer to each other and ultimately perform a docking or handshake in space and separate within a matter of days. The fourth stage of the PSLV C-60 rocket carrying the POEM-4 platform has also been orbiting the Earth at an altitude of 350 kilometers, hosting 24 onboard experiments. Saturday saw ISRO putting out images of success related to two such experiments, both first for India. One video clearly showed the relocatable robotic manipulator technology demonstrator, or the RRMTD, also called the working robotic arm. The arm has 7 movable joints and can relocate itself like an inchworm to specific targets on the PS4 orbital experiment module or POEM-4 platform in space. Becoming the 5th space agency to operate a robotic arm in space, ISRO said. RRMTD, India's first space robotic arm, is in action on board POEM-4, a proud Make in India milestone in space robotics. Another post on X showed an image where green shoots can be seen in seeds sent up in space in microgravity conditions on board POEM-4. Another first for India, which could prove crucial for the food security of astronauts in future long-duration space missions. In a post on X, ISRO said, "Live sprouts in space. VSSC's CROPS, or the Compact Research Module for Orbital Plant Studies experiment on board PSLV C-60, POEM-4 successfully sprouted cowpea seeds in 4 days. Leaves expected soon." And apart from these updates, ISRO also posted on X images showing the SpaceX Chaser spacecraft capturing an in-orbit space selfie video. It was captured on the 2nd of January when the Chaser was still 4.8 kilometers away from the target spacecraft. There may be other significant milestone moments which may emerge from this launch in the coming days, but none is more awaited than the docking or space handshake of the Chaser with the target. The first attempt is likely to be made on Tuesday. Success will mean that India will join an elite club of nations like the US, Russia and China, which have earlier demonstrated this capability in space. With inputs from Gautam Roy, Mihir Makri reporting for DD India.
Let's get you more on this with Dr. S.V. Sharma, former Deputy Director of ISRO. Good evening to you, Dr. Sharma. Just tell us how significant are these two successful experiments. They've been done earlier as well by other countries, but for India, both are firsts.
Yeah, as we saw the majestic takeoff of PSLV C-60 on 30th of December 2024, the main two missions are that the SpaceX 1 and 2 was successfully launched at 475 kilometer circular orbit, and the satellite very nicely separated by about 20 kilometers. And then from 1st of December, the satellites have started coming together closer. There is retro firing going on in the satellite, so that the speed of these satellites are reduced from 38,000 kilometers per hour to about 10 meters per second. Now, on 2nd of January, you would have seen at 4.8 kilometer distance the satellites coming closer, and the docking experiments, the starting of the countdown at 2nd of January, that is the 4.8 kilometers. Now the satellites are coming closer and they are nearly 1.5 kilometers away, and the docking experiment is expected to be successfully completed on 7th of January morning. Now, along with this POEM, the PSLV orbiter experimental module was launched, and along with that module, there were 14 experiments which were uploaded onto the POEM by ISRO, and 10 other experiments by other universities and startups. Now, specifically talking about the walking robotic arm, it is an extremely important experiment that it has to be done, keeping in mind the Bharat space station, similar to ISS, where the astronauts have to be taken. The crew module, service module had to be taken there, and it has to mate with the Bharat space station, and the astronauts should be able to move in and out of Bharat space station and do the experiments. So that is the larger scale. So that larger scale, mating and demating is one part, but it had to be demonstrated at the micro stage, because this, micro stage, docking and undocking is extremely important. So the walking robotic arm becomes extremely important from the point of view that any maintenance has to be done, any visual has to be done, or any movement inside the International Space Station has to be done. The robotic arm becomes extremely important. Therefore, it has launched the RRMTD, that is relocatable robotic manipulated demonstrator, RRMTD, and it has successfully levitated from.
Okay, we seem to be having
and the cameras carrying the carried in the robotic arm successfully came into the loop, and it is moving like a human. That is, with the eyes, it is moving like a human, and then it has been successfully retracted. It has gone into its place. This is one of the major and milestone which ISRO has achieved, and it is really a very, very sweet news.
Yes, certainly. What do you think, which time, in how much time do you think ISRO will be in a position to apply, to actual situations, these experiments that it has successfully performed right now, both for the robotic arm, the relocatable robotic arm, and biology in space?
Actually, this is a leap in the space arena, and a very big success for ISRO, and ISRO should necessarily definitely claim a big jump in its active attitude. And as I was saying, the bigger experiment is the mating of the BSS with the crew module and service module. I am sure that ISRO will attempt it in a phased manner. There are much more experiments to be done. In my opinion, by 2035 or 2040, ISRO should have its own BSS and should have its own crew module, service module, getting into the BSS, and the astronauts working there and doing experiments, including the biological experiments, the sprouting of the seeds, and the experiments on living cells, etc. in BSS. And additionally, the microgravity and microgravity related experiments also could be done. And I'm sure it would be any time around 2035, it should be definitely possible the way the ISRO is moving now.
So, of course, Tuesday is a major day to look forward to, when the docking will be attempted of the two spacecraft, the Chaser and the Target. But apart from that, you mentioned 24 experiments are being hosted by POM4. So, what more can the entire nation, perhaps the world, the entire space community look forward to?
We must necessarily remember that the POEM is the PSLV fourth stage, which used to be discarded after every launch. Now, making it successfully orbit in the orbit, and then making use of it is a very big step forward. Actually, when the SpaceX was launched, the orbit was 475 kilometers circular orbit. Then PSLV fourth stage was fired twice. Please remember, it was started and stopped. That is, we call it restarting of the engine was done twice, and the orbit was brought down to 350 kilometers. So this has 14 plus 10, about 24 experiments which are going to be done in this POEM4. First and the foremost is that robotic arm, which we discussed, and next experiment is also that the communication in the UHF band from the POEM to the Earth and back. And then there is germination of seed, and there is experiment on the presence of electrons, protons, and heavy ions in that particular 350 kilometer orbit is extremely important from the point of view that is the orbit which is going to be used by the Bharat space station. In addition to that, we also have several communication experiments which are being, given opportunity for the students and the startups. Those experiments are going to give a long way into the space. And most importantly, now the industry, the electronic industry has moved over from the conventional leaded and lead soldering to non-lead, because lead is spoiling the environment. The ozone layer is getting affected because of the lead. So lead-free components, electronic components are there in the market already, and most of the fabrications are happening without lead. That experiment had never been tried in space from the point of view that lead is a must in the space fabrication from the point of view of zero-G and the microgravity. This particular experiment, which has been tried in POEM, all the components are used which are non-lead based devices. If it's successful, it is going to be a big step forward in terms of using industry grade and the devices without lead in the space program. So such experiments, there are 14 plus 10, and it would definitely a motivator for the startups and the colleges, in addition to the 14 experiments which are being done by ISRO centers like VSSC, IISU, IIST, etc. They also gain a lot from these experiments, reconfirming what has been done, and also paving the way for studying the 350-kilometer orbit where BSSC is going to be placed.
Wonderful. Let's hope that more successes are registered, especially on Tuesday. Thanks for joining us and talking about it, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you.
Now, Kaziranga National Park, situated in India's Assam, has seen a record 2.3 lakh visitors. That's 230,000 visitors in the 2024-25 tourism season, including 7,600 international tourists. By December 2024, the park earned 5.9 crore rupees, with 2 crore rupees generated in December alone from 80,000 visitors. The park, famous for its one-horned rhinos, has also attracted tourists with sightings of tigers. Meanwhile, Assam Chief Minister Hemant Biswa Sarma, in a post on X, has credited Prime Minister Modi for the surge in tourist visits to Kaziranga National Park. He highlighted that the PM's overnight stay in the park and his call for people to visit has led to a record-breaking footfall of 1.6 lakh tourists, 160,000 tourists in the past 3 months, the highest in 20 years. Now, preparations for the Mahakumbh are on at full swing in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj. Around 40 million pilgrims are expected to attend the largest peaceful congregation of pilgrims on this planet. To provide facilities to devotees, the Netra Kumbh Eye Checkup Camp was inaugurated in Prayagraj. The camp will offer free eye surgeries. Netra Kumbh Camp is being organized by the Ranchhod Das Trust of Rajkot and ISKCON. Doctors from across the country have come to the camp to treat patients free of charge. Now let's get you some more stories making news around the country. Well, the Mahakumbh Mela Authority have developed an artificial intelligence-powered lost and found registration center to help lost pilgrims reconnect with their families and friends. Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj city will host Mahakumbh 2025 from the 13th of this month to the 26th of February 2025. The centre's air quality panel announced on Sunday the withdrawal of Stage 3 restrictions under the Graded Response Action Plan, that's the GRAP, for Delhi NCR, citing an improvement in pollution levels in the capital and surrounding areas. The Indian Meteorological Department, that's the IMD, has forecast moderate to heavy rainfall in Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh for the next 48 hours. Meanwhile, the Met Department has also forecast scattered rainfall in Punjab and Haryana. The Toda tribal community in India's southern state of Tamil Nadu's Ooty celebrated its traditional New Year festival on Sunday. Members of the community offered special prayers and performed traditional dances on the occasion. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. In Jammu and Kashmir, Sonmarg transforms into a winter wonderland. The 82nd Golden Globe Awards ceremony for excellence in film and American television productions of 2024 will kick off later on Sunday. Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, in India, amid the freezing temperatures of Kashmir's ongoing Chiriya Kala, the harsh 40-day winter period, heavy snowfall has brought joy to visitors, especially in places like Sonmarg. The scenic valley of Sonmarg, located in the northern Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, has been transformed into a stunning white wonderland as a thick blanket of snow covers the entire region. Known as the Meadow of Gold, Sonmarg now wears a shiny coat of snow, attracting tourists and photographers alike. The 82nd edition of the Golden Globes is scheduled to take place on Sunday, kicking off the 2025 awards festivities. Films such as Wicked, The Brutalist and Emilia Perez will be competing for trophies and attention ahead of the Oscars. DD India's Diptanshu Kashyap reports.
The 2025 award season begins on Sunday with the 82nd Annual Golden Globe Awards, honoring the best in film and television. The Netflix film Emilia Perez leads the race with 10 nominations, followed by The Brutalist with 7. The Bear leads television series with 5 nods, followed by Shogun and Only Murders in the Building with 4 each. The nominations were announced on December 9th by actors Morris Chestnut and Mindy Kaling. This year's ceremony will be hosted for the first time by comedian Nikki Glaser.
I'm feeling really good about the job that I have to do, the material I've written, that my team has written. I feel like we're just in good shape. I'm really excited just to show these jokes to a massive audience. It's really I've been working on this art project that I'm I can't wait to show people.
Some of the nominated films include A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Anora, Challengers, and The Substance. Timothy Chalamet, Selena Gomez, Ariana Grande, Angelina Jolie are among the stars vying for acting honors. The ceremony is especially significant for India, as Payal Kapadia's All We Imagine as Light has received 2 nominations, including Best Director for Kapadia, marking the first nomination for an Indian production.
On our show, the nominees from television, from movies, come together. They're major stars, and it's like throwing a party at your home. Who would you like to have at your house if you could have anybody? And we've got them every year.
Winners of the Globes are chosen by 334 entertainment journalists from 85 countries. Winning a Globe can boost a film's chances in the run-up to the Academy Awards in March. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
And now for some sporting updates as well. Well, Surma Hockey Club have secured a hard-fought 4-3 win over Vedant Kalinga Lancers in the Hockey India League match in Rourkela on Sunday. The home side started strongly as they put pressure on the Surma Hockey Club's defence with multiple attacks in the opening minutes. The Lancers deservedly took the lead in the 5th minute through Thierry Brinkman, but soon Surma equalised through a penalty corner. Both the sides scored 2 goals each to take the scoreline to 3-3. In the last quarter, Harish Somappa slid the ball into the empty goal to make it 4-3 for Surma. The Lancers won a pair of penalty corners, but both were unable to convert them. And there's big heartbreak for India as they've lost the Border-Gavaskar trophy after a decade with a 6-wicket loss to Australia on day 3 of the 5th and final test in Sydney. Australia chased down 162 runs with Travis Head and Bo Webster taking the team home. India lost the 5-match series 1-3. Resuming day 3 at 141 for 6, India lost their remaining 4 wickets for 16 runs to be all out for 157 in their second innings. Pat Cummins and Scott Boland shared the wickets in the session, with Boland completing a 6-wicket haul and winning the player of the match. Meanwhile, Jasprit Bumrah has become the player of the series with 32 wickets in 5 matches. With this win, Australia have also qualified for the World Test Championship final against South Africa. Now, India's 1-3 defeat in the Border-Gavaskar Trophy 2024-25 against Australia raised many questions. The series began with the hope after India's stunning win in the first test in Perth. but defeats in Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney saw the team fall short against the Australian team. Here's a breakdown of what went wrong with Rohit Sharma's men.
Struggles of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. India's two senior batters, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, failed to deliver consistently. Rohit, who missed the first test, managed only 31 runs across 3 matches. His lack of form forced him to step aside for the 5th test match, giving Shubman Gill a chance. Kohli started well with a century in Perth but couldn't maintain that momentum. He failed to convert starts into big scores, leaving a gap in the batting order. Without a major contribution from the top order, India struggled to set competitive totals. Missing a strong third seamer, Jasprit Bumrah led the pace attack with impressive performances, ending as series' top wicket taker. Mohammad Siraj also bowled well, picking up 20 wickets in 5 matches. However, the absence of a reliable third seamer hurt India's chances. The inability to sustain pressure and allowed Australia's batter to recover and post big scores. This lack of depth in the pace attack exposed a glaring weakness in India's bowling unit. Lack of aggression. India's hallmark fighting spirit seemed to waver at crucial moments. Their batting lacked intent and fielding errors added to their ooze. The team struggled to match Australia's intensity both in the body language and strategy. Without aggression, India lost momentum at critical stages, making it harder to bounce back. Scott Boland's impact. Scott Boland emerged as a surprise package for Australia. His pace and accuracy rattled India's batting lineup. While the team focused on countering Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins, Boland exploited their lack of preparation. His 10-wicket haul in the final test in Sydney sealed India's fate as he consistently delivered in key moments.
Now, as the Border-Gavaskar Trophy series came to an end, with Australia lifting the trophy after more than a decade at the iconic Sydney cricket ground, our next report delves into the key performances and achievements of Indian players in this series.
The Border-Gavaskar Trophy has long been a stage for enthralling cricketing battles between India and Australia, and the recently concluded series in Australia was no exception. Indian batters and bowlers made headlines by setting remarkable records. From stunning centuries to game-changing spells with the ball, the players etched their names in history. Let's take a look at the key performances and achievements of the series. Jasprit Bumrah etched his name in history books, taking the most wickets by an Indian bowler in a test series. Bumrah has become the fastest Indian pacer to reach the landmark of 200 wickets in test cricket. No one in test cricket history has reached the milestone with a better average than Bumrah, whose average stands at 19.56. In the latest ICC Test rankings, Bumrah remained at the top of the bowlers list. Bumrah also recorded the highest ever rating points of 907 by an Indian bowler, surpassing Ravichandran Ashwin. Nitish became the third youngest batsman to score 100 on Australian soil. Yashasvi Jaiswal emerged as top scorer for India at the Border-Gavaskar Trophy with 391 runs. Jaiswal showcased his brilliance with a century of 161 in Perth and added 2 half-centuries. With an average of 43.44, Jaiswal became only player along with Travis Head to average over 40 in this series. Jaiswal also grabbed the number 4 spot in the ICC rankings chart, only Indian in top 10. Rishabh Pant smashed the second fastest test 50 by an Indian during the 5th test. Pant reached his half-century of 29 deliveries with the help of 6 fours and 3 sixes. Virat Kohli scored his 81st test century at Perth of 143 deliveries in first test. Virat Kohli breaks the long wait for an elusive 30th century in test cricket. The recently concluded Border-Gavaskar Trophy will be remembered for many reasons in Indian cricket. Players rose to the occasion and displayed extraordinary skill, but failed to retain the trophy. As the dust settles on this iconic series, Indian team will take valuable lessons from this series for future contests. Faiz Khan's report for DD India.
Now, Jiri Leheka clinched his second ATP Tour title at Brisbane International on Sunday after his opponent, Riley Opelka, retired early in the first set because of a back injury. Leheka was leading 4-1 when the American called it quits after struggling with his movement. Opelka has missed a significant amount of the past 2 seasons with wrist and hip injuries, but had mounted an impressive start in Australia, highlighted by a victory against Novak Djokovic. 23-year-old Leheka is the second youngest champion in the tournament's history. And world number 1, Aryna Sabalenka, defeated Russia's Polina Kudermetova to claim the Brisbane international title. The Belarusian star bounced back after losing the first set to eventually win the final of women's singles event with a scoreline of 4-6, 6-3, 6-2. Brisbane is Sabalenka's fourth title on Australian soil. She'll now head to Melbourne for the Australian Open, where she is a two-time defending champion. The 26-year-old is bidding to become the first woman to win 3 consecutive Australian Opens since Martina Hingis, who dominated from 1997 to 1999. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.